right, well, here, Eddie, so before my mom calls in to
Yeah.
unpack this drama, I'm going to run to the bathroom real fast.
Okey-doke.
Are you good?
Yeah, I'm
You don't need
good.
anything? Do you need a drink or
Perfect.
snacks?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll be
love it.
right back, and then we'll hop into the
Okay.
next segment. Thanks.
Let's do this. Yeah. I'm excited. Just make sure my hair looks all right. And oh no. What is this? Let me just see what is going on there. Okay, better. Well. Yeah, burrito there. Foot soldiers, the No, I'm good, thank you very much. Yeah.
Good on water?
Oh yeah, I put it behind the couch, but I'm good, thank you very much. Oh yeah, maybe I'll just get a little tiny bit real quick here while we're sitting here. Okay, perfect. Let's go. All right. Oh, it is. Let me just fix these here. And, just have to like. Ooh. Let me just. Okay, perfect. No, I'm ready. Just wanted to stretch my legs a little bit. Okay.
All right, I think we'll be coming back in a minute here.
Okey-doke.
Listen, I want to sit here alone.
You didn't tell me that last time. Last time you sat and we
saw
talked.
you.
Sorry about that.
The Foot Soldiers, and who else? Let's see, the Vape Nation, Foot Soldiers.
Have a good time so far?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. It's very informational and learning a lot, and it's really fun to be in the studio with you guys.
Chad loves you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I love them back, and I've been mentioning I'm really following the comments, and I'm going to be always saying, yeah, I appeared on the H3 podcast, so go on YouTube and check it out. And, I'll try to follow each comment because I do get a lot of people that are asking me to, talking about the H3 podcast a lot in the comments.
Cool.
And so it's a good tie-in. I really appreciate all the exposure, and it's a dream thing to do, because for a long time I was not blowing up on TikTok. For like 2 years, I couldn't get from 10,000 to 12,000 followers, and then it was only January 17th of my birthday of this year that it started to get a little bit better. But until that time, I couldn't go from 14,000. It just stuck at 14,000 followers forever. And then January 17th, when I started doing a few shirtless videos, that's when it kind of, now I have almost 70,000 followers, and it's really been phenomenal. And I wanted to keep going because I know this other lady that has like 500,000 followers on there, and she's like you know, and people that you just don't know how they got 500,000 followers or like 1 million followers. And you know, in the same time I've been on there, because I started before right during the pandemic on there, and so you know, I hope it keeps continuing. But if not, it's okay. But you know, I really enjoy the little boost so far. You know.
Sure.
And y'all have been really good.
Thank you for filming a video with me too, Eddie.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
Do you usually not take requests? Like if somebody wants to do a video with you? Like,
Oh,
is that
yes, I will do any requests they like. I've never
okay.
said no. And in fact, somebody gave me an idea yesterday about doing like 7 people in a store, you know, any store, and just have them all be shirtless and I be the one with the shirt on. So I might start doing like shirt on videos where I tell them no, like I tell them I wouldn't take my shirt off, just to like have a diversion from the same old, because I always like to do variety. I never like to stay on the same thing. But it's been, you know, I used to do singing on there and acting duets and a lot of singing duets. And one guy that I follow a lot on there, he got to accompany Joss Stone a lot. And then another one he got 500,000 followers by Billie Eilish one time from her bedroom with half of a light on. Did a duet with him, and he's a vocal coach. And ever since then, I'm promoting him constantly because I sing a lot of duets with him. And so he's back in England, and so I always tell people, you know, follow this person and at so-and-so, and he's been duetted by Billie Eilish, so you can duet with him too. So I'm always helping others promote, and I've always constantly sent people a lot of, and now I'm starting to tag you a lot too in all my videos. I'll put at H3 Podcast because you have a following on there as well. And I know you only follow about 13 people, but I was a little miffed that you didn't follow me, but I know you may or may not be able to because, you know, your first person you follow is Howie Mandel, and then you have some others, but you only follow about 13 people. So that's how come I didn't get your instant messages, probably because I may have not been able to follow you back because I only have 10,000 people I can follow on TikTok. And I've always told them, you know, I wish they could just, some of the JT Barrett, there's this guy named, and you might want to have him on your show too, JT Barnett. He tried to do a Real House for TikTok about 3 years ago when the pandemic happened, and they tried to pay their rent of a big house by having like a TikTok real world house, like MTV meets like, you know, Big Brother house. And I don't think it went, it just never caught on, but they still do. He constantly texts me all the time. I must have signed up for his email list. And he's always texting me, giving me these motivational, like, I hope everything's good today, you rock, or you'll do well. And I don't know if he's texting like 400,000 people at the same time. Then there's another guy, Justin, that does Broadway. He was in Tina Turner on Broadway. He's on TikTok, and what happens with him is he started this whole like group that they pay him to give, you know, for him to like motivate them. And you know, now people are starting to do subscriptions on TikTok when you go live, and I haven't done that, but to try to monetize, because you could pay like $5 for and if you have a subscription goal, if you get like 500 people following your lives all the time and they pay $5 a month, you do the math, you know, they could make money doing that. But I never really wanted to do that. I grew up doing community theater where we were unpaid, and I was in the Saltines in my hometown. They were like the San Antonio Little Theater teen group, and we were like you know, like they had Kids Incorporated here in Los Angeles, and it was sort of like that. We did a lot of like before Glee type of stuff, you know. And we would tour all over San Antonio and the Riverwalk and but it was always unpaid. And then I did a lot of community theater that was unpaid too. So I don't mind it. My mom always said it was an honor to do it, you know, and my parents weren't into showbiz. I got them involved in the theater. Then my mom became the box office manager of the theaters that we worked in San Antonio. And, you know, San Antonio was mostly military, Hispanic town, 5 military bases, a lot of Latinos there, like 80% Latino. And San Antonio's, we don't have an ocean there, you know, you have to go 4 hours to Corpus Christi to an ocean. And so that's why I like LA. I came here when I was, you know, 18, 19, 20. And, you know, the pay then was like $5 an hour for minimum wage, $8 an hour in the 80s. And then I used to do like telemarketing to make ends meet. And I worked as an intern in my agent's office. And she had like like the Cosby Kid, one of the Cosby kids, and Greg Kinnear. She had Greg Kinnear. And I would sit in the office and, you know, on a desk and answer phones, and I'd say, artist first, artist first. And my agent liked the way I said artist first. You know, she thought that I was proud of being in that agency. Yeah. And my commercial agent would always say, you know, you're in the receptionist here at the office, and you never know who could come in at any moment, you know. And Greg Kinnear came in one time, and I used to watch him on the primetime channel. It was before the E! Channel. Every day, you know, after I'd get home from either an acting class or my agent's office or whatever it was, telemarketing job, and I'd watch the primetime movie channel. But Greg Kinnear wasn't even signed theatrically with her. She would only take him on commercially. And then he got As Good as It Gets, and he gets an Academy Award Supporting Actor nomination. But I asked him while I was on the desk, you know, hey, Greg, I really loved you on your primetime movie channel. And he goes, thanks a lot. And then like, yeah, we would have like the maid that killed Selena, Lupe Ontiveros, and we had like one of the 21 Jump Street kids because she handled a lot of the ethnic talent when nobody in LA in '85 would it was mostly white bread, and they wouldn't handle like blacks, Hispanics, and Asians. But she was like one of the first trailblazers to like have ethnicities in her roster. But back then, you know, it was like, I lived in Beverlywood subdivision, and I was renting a room downstairs in a pool room, you know, by the pool, and right across the street, you know, they would call that neighborhood the jungle, and Beverlywood subdivision was like where the black people didn't go, you know, and like if they crossed the street, they would say, go back to your jungle over there. So it was kind of not as, even though LA has always been good to the ethnics, it was like not always that way. There was still a lot of racism even back then in '85. But we had Malcolm Jamal Warner of The Cosby Show, and Justin Nguyen from 21 Jump Street, and Greg Kinnear. And in our rosters, I used to pick pictures for like, you know, back then. And like for Morgan Fairchild, I would, you know, and then back then when I came to town in '85, they had Pee-wee's Big Adventure and was out in the movies. And I did a lot of auditions for like Revenge of the Nerds Part 2. And, you know, there were a lot of nerdy roles you could try out for. And I did do a Shakey's Pizza commercial it was a national commercial, and they flew me to Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I got to do that, and that was exciting. And back then they would fly people first class as an actor, you know, even if you were in a commercial or something. And I told my agent, you know, we're stuck here for 3 days in a blizzard, and Rhoda Gemignani from Who's the Boss is here. She was playing my mom or something, or aunt. It was for an all-you-can-eat Shakey's Pizza buffet commercial. And I said, she was the reason that didn't go longer, and I could have made $1 million doing it and get a Malibu house, was because she had been like she was like the spokesperson for Ragu back in the late 70s and early 80s. So when Shakey's Pizza hired her, they probably realized she was the Ragu lady, and it could have been a conflict, you know. But I auditioned with one of the Mrs. Kravitz from Bewitched to get on that Shakey's Pizza commercial, and it was me and Mrs. Kravitz, the real Mrs. Kravitz, or the last one. They had 3 Mrs. Kravitz on Bewitched. And it was fun being back then in the '85 times, because when I first came to town, because we had the We Are the World had just come out, you know, and so it was like the We Are the World kind of times, you know, and it was fun because back then, you had a lot of the rock and roll, you know, Ralphs and the rock and roll kind of vibe going on in LA. You know, it was really burgeoning. And yeah, back then in the 90s, and I've been here in the 2000s and 2010s and then 2020s, but it's a whole different ball game now with streaming and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, some good times. Yeah, I was in a lot of classic movies, Showgirls. I was in Showgirls. I was there the day that Elizabeth Berkley was getting manhandled and fondled by the director, Paul Verhoeven, in a scene we did at Raleigh Studios in Hollywood. It was, back then it was Formosa Studios, you know, or one of those where they filmed Dynasty after they moved it from 20th Century Fox. And I was on Dynasty one time with Blake Carrington on a beach scene in Malibu with I had to hire a German Shepherd dog from SAG, you know, to get like a trainer to bring the dog to the set to get the job. And back then, you know, I played a football player on Married with Children and a basketball player on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and never played basketball or football before. But, you know, back then you just threw on a uniform and you played the basketball or you played football. And got to work with Kirk Douglas and Eric Douglas one time when they were blowing up like World War I scenes with landmines. And I couldn't stand it because they were blowing things up around us. So I faked being sick, and I had to go to the med, they had a medic, you know, one of those ambulances on set. And so they made me drink 6 gallons of Gatorade thinking I was dehydrated just so I wouldn't have to work in that scene where they were blowing up landmines. But I did China Beach for 2 years with Dana Delaney and Mark Helgenberger from CSI, and had to wear GI soldier outfit and, you know, grease all over my face every day and oil, you know, and then they would blow you up. They'd put squids on you and blow things up. And I got PTSD from working on that for 2 years.
Wow.
Because it was a lot of like sitting in trenches while they blew up and having to run around blow up scenes and helicopters, and like, you know, we had to actually be Vietnam War people, and they made it look real. And right next to us was filming another series about Vietnam, and so I had to be like a Vietnam War soldiers. And then like for TV shows like The X-Files, we had to run on top of like roofs. But one of my favorites too was like Seven with Brad Pitt, and where I had to be like a SWAT team coming in and out of a truck, you know, and really being a SWAT and being like hustling to get in and out of that SWAT truck. And a lot of times you had to carry around you had to be a policeman on sets with guns and all the different accoutrements from the guns and the police uniform. And my very first extra job, I got to actually be a cop and have speaking lines as a cop and read the Miranda rights to one of the White Castle guys. And with James Spader, and that was fun working with him. And a lot of the Rob Lowe TV movies and TV shows. And then, well, I did 5 Jim Carrey movies, 7 or 8 Adam Sandler movies, where, you know, once they used you and Adam Sandler knew you, you'd work on it from time to time, different, so those were fun. Or Volcano, Dante's Peak, Independence Day. I got to read lines with like Jeff Goldblum from Independence Day, because I helped him practice lines of Independence Day, you know, while we were there on set waiting around because there's a lot of downtime. Or going into trailers of actresses and going in and doing soap operas where you're helping them with their lines that they're 80 pages of dialogue.
Right.
Like right now, I'm supposed to go right after this to a play that I got where they're going to put together a one-man show. And so I'm thinking, you know, they have no script, but we'll have to just like improvise it. And they're going to film it, I think. They're trying to sell it to a network on how to hire an actor and do a one-man show all of a sudden, like in 4 hours. But yeah, a lot of it, I've played a lot of aliens. I played one time for, you know, where you had to wear a full alien like head for like, you know, different TV shows. And it pulls on your neck. Sometimes the prosthetics that they put, it pulls on your neck a lot, or it hurts your, you know, up here, it pulls hair. One of my last jobs recently was like a basketball drama for a streaming channel in which we had to wear wigs and pins in our hair, and it was 70s. Oh, and I got to work with Jay Leno recently on a movie that he played, Ed, you know, from the Ed Sullivan. That was fun. And Jay, I got to work with him on a few episodes, a lot of episodes of his You Bet Your Life. And you got to ask questions, and he always talks a lot, you know, to all the audience. And even between takes, and he never leaves the set. And we're sitting there, and we go on restroom breaks, but he like stays there the whole time and entertains people. But my favorite job was on Birdcage with Robin Williams, and there were drag queens that were dancing in between takes, and like out in the parking lot. You have hours to sit there and wait till they set up the, you know, and Mike Nichols, a big director, and sometimes you get to be in scenes that are cut in the movie. And then Robin Williams kept entertaining us in between takes, and he was like, his mom came to the set, and we got to eat with his mom and him, and he was very serious off camera, but then when he's ready in the set, he was very comedic and constantly on and constantly entertaining us and making sure we're all like having a great time. And it was so shocking, the difference when he goes to eat lunch. He's totally serious and with his mom, and serious and like totally night and day. He had a personality that was like happy one minute and like not depressed, but just very serious and stern the next minute, you know, after he's away from the set. And another fun one I did was with Roseanne and Tom Arnold, in which she used to turn her seats away from the set. And her and Tom Arnold, and I got to lay down on like a carpet with her, like she would put a beach towel down and just sit there on the floor, like, you know, and we're wondering, she was no Miss Hollywood like we thought she would be, you know. It's just, but that was fun. And the Connors, I got to be in the audience a lot of the Connors, and they recently asked me to be like a mascot on on that Masked Singer. Yeah, you had to go in for a wardrobe fitting and go in and like be fit, and I think it was going to be for me to like maybe double Amber Riley, because at the time I was bigger, and maybe she had a big frame and they didn't want to disrespect her and like have a woman play her that was bigger. So they asked a man to like fit into her sizes or something. But I used to work on Glee a lot, and that was fun. I got to work with, I saw you had a picture of Adam Lambert, and I got to do a lot of dance scenes with him. And one time I was on the set with Leah Michelle, and Eric Stoltz from Back to the Future directed a lot of episodes, and he would come up to me and say, "Hi, I'm Eric Stoltz." I told him, "Yes, I know who you are. Oh yeah, I adore you and respect you." And I got to work on a few movies of his before he was going to go. I mean, after he had lost the part on Back to the Future Part 2, like in the 80s and 90s. But he was a good director and actor from The Mask. But Eric Stoltz directed a lot of Glee episodes, and Glee was my favorite show to work on. That and 90210 and Beverly and the original Melrose Place. I got to work on a lot of Melrose Place, a lot of that. I proposed to Tori Spelling on the set of 90210.
No.
Don't turn the TV on.
She said yes. She actually said yes. It was before she got married, and she goes, yes, right away, no hesitation. Because I said, I really did like her. It wasn't that I just wanted to marry a Spelling. You know, I did like her. I like Randy Spelling. I followed him a lot when he was first on TikTok and as well. He lives in Portland, I think. And recently I've been following Danny Pintaro. He might even come on your show. But he couldn't get past 12, like 8,000 followers, even though he's a TV star. And he got mad at TikTok.
I thought hit the screen on.
Because they weren't giving him enough love. And I went on his page and was telling him about the ins and outs of why I felt similar, and he couldn't follow us. And he was telling me, oh yes, that's just unacceptable. That, you know, but the main beef was that he couldn't get enough followers, even though he was a TV star from Who's the Boss. And I used to work on Who's the Boss a lot with Dan. I got to do a few things with, you know, Danny DeVito. I recently worked with Danny DeVito, and one of my favorites too recently was I got to be a cameraman on The Pool Man with Chris Pine. That was one of the extra jobs that I enjoyed, and I got featured recently where I got to be in the movie. It was a shit movie, though. It was horrible. But Chris Pine, he's like one of my favorite actors. I got to see him in a play, you know, at the David Geffen Playhouse. And my God, well, Chris Pine from Star Trek, you know, Shatner. And, but I did work with him on that movie, and I thought it was going to be like a funny comedy, but it turned out it was more like a psychological drama. But at the time when we were doing it, you know, it seemed like he should have made it a really funny comedy. But he directed it and wrote it, Chris Pine. It was called The Pool Man. It was recent. That was fun to work on because you got to work with Annette Bening. And you know, Annette Bening, I did the president, I did the American president with her. And well, when you get directed by like Rob Reiner, that's always fun. I got to work on Mississippi Burning with, you know, with Rob Reiner, and of course, you know, Alec Baldwin. That was fun. Poor Alec Baldwin though, huh? What happened to him? But you know, a lot of times when you're on the sets, sometimes you worry about the safety sometimes. And that lady, you know, there was a young girl that didn't kind of put in the bullets properly, or they didn't test them. But Alec Baldwin, when he was saying, you know, am I aiming it right at the camera? Am I aiming it? Am I aiming it? It was sort of a little suspect. But the thing was, is that he was trying to look cool. That's the problem. He's getting older, and he even said that before that shooting happened, he had said that his eyes were getting puffy, very puffy. And they get very, when you know, you're aging. He was a hot guy on Knots Landing. But then when he started aging, and he gets terrible puffiness of his eyes here and there, he's very sensitive to how he's gonna look on camera. And that was what his fault was. That's what caused the whole situation, because he was trying to aim it to where he would look as cool as possible holding a gun, because he didn't want to look weird and wacky. He had to look sort of like, you know, how Liam Neeson looks holding a gun, or other people, and that could have been the problem. Plus, Rust was a very, very low budget production, and they're still filming it and they're finishing it, but they moved to a different like whole place, you know, to do Rust, another ranch. But why, you know, they'd have to finish it because now there'll be interest in the movie to see, you know, people will go see it, like when they saw, you know, the guy from Batman, when the guy died, Heath Ledger, everybody went to see that movie so that it would be like Rebel Without a Cause to see when James Dean died, his last movie, you know. But it'll be curious to see if Rust does any business. But it might, you know, it'll probably be a cult classic because of what happened. But I wonder if Alec Baldwin is going to be lynched and mobbed over it, you know, and is he going to have to serve jail time and all that? But a lot of times you know, on sets, there have been times when I felt unsafe too, and you know, there's nothing you can do because you wonder, are you going to die over it? You know. So I've actually gone to the emergency trailers and telling them, you know, like I did on that one World War I picture when they're blowing up landmines, I didn't want to like get injured. So, and I stopped working on China Beach because I finally caved in and told them, you know, I was sitting in a trench while they were going to blow it up. And I finally told them, I can't take this anymore. And when you're there 18, 19, 20 hours a day and you're making golden time, is what you said, what golden time was. Yeah, you know, it's like, that's great, but you know, it's just psychologically getting on you. It's wearing and tearing on you. And finally, Chip Biaselic or whoever was the PA or first AD on the show, finally just said, well, okay, Eddie, get out of there. And then I didn't work on the show much anymore because you can't say no to them. They want you in that particular area and they want you, and there's nothing you can do. You really can't say no as an extra, you know. Like if you were an actor, you have choices, but if you're an extra, when they place you, you can't just direct yourself. You have to, but nowadays, like, oh, and then I just worked recently on one where I was in an airport scene where all the airport scenes are usually shot at like the LA Convention Center, and people like working there because it's a lot better than working at a real airport. So I just recently did one called Rap Shit that was there. It was called Rap Shit. That was my last job. Rap Shit, it was just about 3-4 weeks ago, and that's good that I remembered that now because I haven't been paid for it yet, but you have to call the payroll company because everything's digital now, and sometimes you don't fill out vouchers, and so I have to call them because when you get there, your stage name is for SAG is different than it is for your screen name or something like that. But generally nowadays it's laid back and you can do it even if you're SAG because non-union if you want to or SAG because they look away from it unless you have an actual speaking part and so forth. But before, you know, people would all be worried that, oh, you might not be able to, what if you lose your SAG card over it? But I've defended a casting company several times when SAG called me to say, hey, you worked on a Coke commercial or Pepsi commercial with, or T-Mobile, one of the mobile companies, with the Boris Bend It Like Beckham, the guy Beckham, John, that's married to the Spice Girl. And they called and said, you worked for BTS, and why were you non-union that day? And you know, BTS told them at SAG that there were no numbers, that SAG doesn't increase the numbers of the Screen Actors Guild people to be paid union wages, so the union has to work non-union. But the non-union pay could be like $250 for the day, and the union pay for a union commercial could be $366, so it's not much difference. And for that, you'd rather work than not make zero. And so I defended BTS because even though they don't work me much SAG, still I felt like, you know, they work you at least, and they're hardworking agency for extras. So I told SAG a thing or three, and that shut them up. I told them, you know, there's no numbers, you're not increasing your numbers, and there were no numbers that day, and she told you that originally, and it said in the letter that they sent to me, you know, if you do that, you could have possibly have lost your SAG card. And but we were told because there were no numbers that day, that's why you worked non-union. So what is your take on that? And I had to tell them, you know, I defended the people I work with, because it's like, but other extras would not do that. They would chastise that company, and that's why that happened, in order to like think they can just get a SAG pay that day or an upgrade. But if they hire you and you're at that pay, you know, it's not their fault all the time. There is nepotism, there is favoritism sometimes, but not all the time. And I realized, you know, that they had, at least they hired, you know, 500 extras, so they could only hire 100 union, but still they hired 400 other non-union extras. So, like I had to work Euphoria and all non-union. And when I got there, Zendaya, she had her tennis shoe laces untied for the whole time. I mean, she never tied her tennis shoes. And she was real frumpy looking. Normally she's a glamour puss, but she had to wear like, you know, really baggy clothes and kind of look frumpy for Euphoria. And we were doing a theater scene where we were in the audience and I was in the first or second row, and there's, you know, Zendaya, and she's all walking around or sitting on the stage with her tennis shoe laces untied, and I get constantly ribbed for having my tennis shoe laces untied. So whenever anyone says that, I always say, well, I'm like Zendaya, we don't tie our tennis shoes. It's an attention grabber. We don't have to tie our tennis shoes. Why don't you talk to Zendaya about that? She doesn't tie her tennis shoes. But some people don't. It's like, who decreed that you have to tie your tennis shoes constantly? I mean, I get told by a friend of mine who I walk the dog with on Chandler in my home, you know, in Burbank, oh, your tennis shoes untied. And I have to say, like, you know, who decreed? Oh my God, what's going to happen if the tennis shoes are untied? Oh. You know, I don't have to tie them. Why don't you tie them? Or like if I'm on the set, sometimes I'll tell the wardrobe. I get sick of them telling me, oh, you have to tie your tie, or tie your tie. That's how they talk. They just say it bluntly, like tie your tie. And I usually tell them, you know, I was one of those tie clipper persons that already had a clip, you know, you just clip-on ties. And I don't tie ties. I don't know how to tie a tie. I never learned. I don't care. And so I go like,
who is this?
You tie it. You're the wardrobe people.
What's going on?
You go ahead and tie it. They're paying you to be the wardrobe. Could you do it for me?
This guy doesn't have a shirt on.
Hello,
What's
how are
going
you?
on?
Yes, I'm here. I'm Shirtless Eddie. I do TikTok videos with my shirt off. It's been going viral. So that's why I've been deciding to do it. And that's why Ethan saw me, or somebody saw me on TikTok, one of the crew members here. And how are you? Nice to meet you. Basically, it's just a thing that I do. You know, I've been recently getting more followers on TikTok. So I like it because it's just because, you know, you can be more free in LA, a little more laid back. And also I lost weight. I lost 33 pounds in 3 weeks on the Feel Great system. And so I figured I want to show my before and after pictures. I really do. And so I lost weight. I was 269 pounds when I started 3.5 weeks ago. Now I'm 237 pounds. And my goal is to go to 200 or 198. But also I'm curbing my diabetes, my cholesterol, my blood sugar went down, my high blood pressure. I have more energy, more stamina, more confidence, and it's all because of one drink you drink in the morning, and then 10 minutes before you eat a meal, you drink another little drink, and you can eat 2 meals a day. But I did fast. It's like Yom Kippur. I fasted every day now. I'm making up for the times I didn't fast in Yom Kippur, because you just fast at night, 8 hours at night, and then 4 hours in the morning. You just don't eat a breakfast. But at 1 p.m. or 5 p.m., you can eat your breakfast if you want. And you can eat, it's food freedom. And so, you know, it's a little drink called the Feel Great system. I met somebody on TikTok, I saw their videos, and he used to run or be the CEO of like Herbalife or some company. But Unicity, they're called Unicities. I thought they were Unicity, but they're called Unicity. Balance and Unicity, Unamate. And it's the yerba mate plant from South America. It's all natural. There's no sugar in it. It's 360 times more chlorogenic acid that's found in coffee. And I don't drink coffee. And I used to drink hot tea or cold tea. I don't drink coffee. So that's why the chlorogenic acid is burning my fat. It gives you stamina. It's willpower in a packet. And it's only $5 a day. And now everybody on TikTok is selling it. But I didn't become a distributor. I'm just a raving fan and actor and singer. And so I lost weight on it, and I can fit into some clothes that are for the wardrobe department because they're all low budget right now. And they don't really have sizes over like a 42 or 44 waist. And now I can fit into shirts extra large, and before I was a 2XL, just 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. So it really works. And it just burns off your fat while you eat foods, and you still lose weight. So I really enjoy it. And I only sold one kit to somebody. It's only like $5 a day. But if they sell it to someone else, then they would make $10. And if you pay $50, you become a distributor, and you can sell the kits, and every kit you sell to somebody for $147, you get $25. Right now I just get a credit on my account. But it's worth it, because what your health is worth. You know, if I get neuropathy, it kills your neuropathy pain, it kills your inflammation. It's a fiber matrix. So what happens is I haven't had to urinate as much. I used to go frequently. I don't have to. I'm 56 years old. So now on this Feel Great system, I don't have to urinate, but you know, at a regular basis. I don't have to go every 5 seconds to the restroom, because I'm not bathing in insulin anymore. It's insulin, I'm insulin, where before I was insulin resistant, now that's burning the food for fuel. So it works. I've been happy with it. And I never tried a diet. I never went on those yo-yo diets, but none of them work. And so I might have tried the Zone Perfect diet years ago. And that was food that you'd order, and they'd leave it on your front doorstep. But I thought they put something in the food back then, and because it was making me loopy or something, like in 2003 or something. It was called the Zone Perfect diet, and it was only in LA. And it was like, you know, before they had like the meal kits or meal plans, like, you know, now they have the Martha Stewart's and the, you know, the food meal kits now that you can either cook or have them like TV dinners that you throw in the microwave, or the air hydrators or whatever they're called. And so now I really like it. It's called the Feel Great system. And I just put the website on my little bio in TikTok. but I don't really push it that much. There are other, and it's just 2 boxes. You get 60 days of the Balance Fiber Matrix, and you get 30 days supply of the it's a herbal tea, not a herbal tea, but it's like a lemon tea, and you can choose your flavors, lemon tea, or you can have black like coffee, or you can have ginger citrus. For in the morning, you just drink it in a little shaker bottle, and you don't have to even use a blender. You just take the packet and you throw it in the little thing, and you sip on it whenever you feel hungry. But it curbs your appetite and it extends your fast. And it's like every day is Yom Kippur, because I only fast for 8 hours at night when I go to sleep and 4 hours in the morning. And then I can eat anything I want at 1 o'clock or 5 o'clock. It's food freedom. But it also helps I'm not going to have a heart attack now from diabetes. And soon I'll be off of metformin and glipizide. So the pills, instead of taking the pills when you drink the drink, it helps you and allows you, all these people have been off of the pills now, of the glipizide and metformin. And they're also off high blood pressure medication and all the statins and all that. So I don't know, you can check it out. It's called the Feel Great System. It's by Unicity, and everybody's on TikTok now. I see a lot of people, all of a sudden 8 or 9 people are starting to like push it. But the one man that I saw on there, I just was motivated by his videos because it showed the before and after pictures, and his face was wider and his body was wider, and now it shrunk, you know, and he looks younger, and he's 69 years old. And he can actually go and bench press, and he can go to the gym if he wants. He had neuropathy pain so bad that he couldn't walk hardly. Now he's doing exercises at the gym. And I too didn't go to the gym for the last 10 years because my aerobics teacher quit going there, and she went to Marina Del Rey. And it was too far from me from the valley to schlep all the way to Marina Del Rey. But now, and I used to take aerobics 3 times a week. And I also took with Richard Simmons, Richard Slimmons, or whatever it was called. And he was a weird one. And I love him to death. But when I worked, when I went to his studio to work out, he had 2 female bathrooms, which is okay with me. I don't care what they do. But it was just more, you know, he was catering more to women. I understand that. But he did have a lot of men in there too that would take his aerobics. And I would wear short shorts when I would go to his classes, sort of like, because bikini shorts, just because that was what he was dancing as. And we would like dance around to like, back then it was like, you know, like, there was the Christina Aguilera Cher movie just came out, so we would dance a lot to the songs from that movie, burlesque, and but basically Richard Simmons he went out the door. I don't know if you could get him in here, but he where did he go? He disappeared. He kind of went wacko. For some reason, he kind of went crazy, and now all of a sudden you don't see or hear from him. But when I was on the Bonnie Hunt show, it was like a Mary Tyler Moore sitcom, and I got to be a featured extra, and I was on a desk right next to Bonnie Hunt for like 13 episodes. And it was before they did they built the Grove, and they had just built a few new studios at CBS. And anyway, Bonnie Hunt was in that Dave movie where she goes, and we're walking. And then she was in, you know, Cheaper by the Dozen, and she was in Jumanji with Robin Williams, I think it was. Anyway, Bonnie Hunt, I loved her. She was like, before Jane Lynch was so popular, Bonnie Hunt was popular. And then all of a sudden, and they took together at Second City, Bonnie Hunt and Jane Lynch. But then Jane Lynch got the TV series, you know, Glee, and where did Bonnie Hunt go? But she's done a few streaming TV series. But I loved her, I really did. I liked her a lot, and she was funny. But she came on when Seinfeld had just come on for the first 2 years on CBS, and David Letterman produced her. And what happened was they had an affair, and David Letterman would come and fly all the way from New York before he would do his talk show at night. He'd fly there just to go into her dressing room, and they would be making out together. And they were both married at the time. David Letterman had not divorced yet. And also, Bonnie Hunt's husband, he got a lot of stock with American Online. And she would tell us on the set, my husband's wasting all my money buying stock in American Online. I just know something's going to go wrong. We're going to lose it all. And, you know, then later, 2 or 3 years later, American Online kind of tanked. They thought they were going to be the next Time Warner had bought them, or they kind of merged, you know, with Time Warner, and they thought they were going to be a big, and what happened to America Online. But I was with them for many years. Are you? And so it was fun, you know, to work on that sitcom. And I did a lot of sitcoms. I was there when Leo DiCaprio was a little kid on Growing Pains, and I got to stand right next to, you know, Kirk Cameron in between takes and before we would go onto the set. And Kirk was so jealous of Leo DiCaprio. It was seethingly upset that Leo was taking his thunder. And then Kirk fired his then on-screen girlfriend because she was a Playboy centerfold, and Kirk was too, you know, prim and proper. And he was just getting into the Pritikin diet. And I used to take gifts that I would bring the scripts from the trailers of some of the Growing Pains kids, and I would actually, they'd ask me to go get the script for them, and we would practice lines in between takes. That was a lot of fun. Or working on Growing Pains, you know, that was fun. And yeah, those were the good old days. But you know, recently I've done a lot of TV shows and movies. It's just that they only do 8 episodes of these streaming shows, so you don't get a chance to like really, you know, get to work on it long enough. You might only work 1 or 2 episodes, when before they would do like 39 episodes, you know. But I did do Grey's Anatomy a lot. I worked on that show a lot recently, and through the years, I got to do their 200th episode with Patrick Dempsey. And I did work on some movies with Patrick Dempsey as well, and that was fun, you know, to work with him and some of the old 80s and 90s stars. And well, Pierce Brosnan put his arm around me on a couch in The Lawnmower Man. You know, he did that in between the time he was 007. And that was fun. He goes, "What's up?" And he had his arm around me for quite a long time when we did The Lawnmower Man 2 or something like that. And sometimes, oh, my favorite one to work on was, now it's bringing back memories, was I did the Centipede, Human Centipede 3, and I had to be a human centipede on the floor, stuck head to groin with nails in a centipede line. And the raunchy director's language that she used, it was so raunchy and so dirty. You talk F words and you talk, but this was like porno talk, the way she was talking. And it was so raunchy that Eric Roberts off screen was laughing about how raunchy it was. I mean, he was just laughing his head off because he produced, I think, Centipede 3, but we had to be human centipedes, and that was fun to be like head to butt, and they go, get in there, put your head next to that butt, get in there, and then and don't move, and put your head like closer to the butt crack, and they would talk so raunchy. The dirty and director was like getting into all, because that movie Human Centipede, the dialogue in the script, if you watch that movie, is very raunchy, dirty talk. And I think but she really got into it, the female director, you know, from that movie. And sometimes the directors, they get into that. You know, I played a bouncer one time on a C. Thomas Howell movie, and it was that particular director kept calling me a couple of times back because he liked, and don't look like a bouncer, but I got to like tell people, stand back, don't be around this velvet rope. Nobody gets around this velvet rope, or whatever it was. And I had to have dialogue. You know, they just threw you dialogue, or if you're in a bar scene, they might throw you some dialogue. But I have found that when you're an extra, if you're in the right time at the right place, you get more lines than you do when you audition, really. It's just because of the fact that they throw in extra stuff that they're gonna need, or somebody didn't show up, or you're just like the right type at the right time, you know. I have another friend who, on Facebook, constantly puts an arrow towards everything he's ever been in, and he'll like put an arrow, and he puts like every single little thing he's ever been in, he'll like post it on Facebook. And you could get in trouble for doing that because you're not supposed to share it on social media, some of the things you're in right away, because then people could see it before it happens. Because Rosie O'Donnell got in trouble one time on her talk show, or she didn't get in trouble, but they got very upset with her when she revealed she spoiled, no spoiler alert, for Fight Club, the movie I was in with Meatloaf, and we were shirtless in a Fight Club scene, and she told the audience before the movie came out all the whole synopsis of the movie and how it ended, and the studio got upset, and I think Brad Pitt got very upset with her over that. But she kind of divulged that she didn't like that movie, and what's really weird is she's into she's into the fighters, you know, the UFC. She'll watch the UFC fights all the time. So, but back then maybe she just wasn't into UFC at that time. But see, Fight Club was very violent in her opinion about the, you know, people getting all beat up and abused and bruised up because of the fact that they were bullied, you know, as part of the joke on the Fight Club, or the thing that they were told to do their assignment. So that was, and I used to watch the Rosie O'Donnell show, and of course, when she came to LA, I watched it, but I understand that she got into some squabble over the fact that she revealed the ending of a movie before it came out. But, you know, that's the way it is. She's a nice gal. She follows me on TikTok, Rosie O'Donnell, and, you know, there's other people that I've helped. I used to push her merch line. She did a t-shirt line called Rosie Freakin' O'Donnell. And the merch line was made by sniffapickle.com/Rosie. So like I'm doing with the shirtless videos, I used to do for Rosie O'Donnell. Countless people, I would go and say, hey, what do you think of Rosie O'Donnell? Could you say Rosie freaking O'Donnell on camera? Just say, hey, I'm mesmerized by your shirt. What does it say? Rosie freaking O'Donnell. And I would get like maybe 400, 500 people to say, hey, I like your shirt. What does it say? And they would read what said on my shirt. It said Rosie freaking O'Donnell. And a lot of them thought that she was Roseanne Barr. Or, you know, and I had to tell them, no, she's not Roseanne Barr, you know, type of thing. But I used to push her merch line a lot. And that's why she followed me, because a lot of the people that saw that I was pushing her merch line would like say, at Rosie, at Rosie, at Rosie, on my comments in my posts, because countless people I would push her merch line. And then when she did the L word, and she got to do a bowling scene, she didn't even have me come on as a bowler. But I did get speaking lines on a bowling movie with one of the guys from, the French guy from, you know, from the Entourage, one of the Entourage kids, guys. I was doing a bowling movie one time, and it was like an independent movie. It wasn't a bowling movie, but that was our scene. And the director happened to be from one of those old NBC dramas, like The Profiler or something like that from NBC, and she liked me. She was a blonde lady, and she just happened to like me. Sometimes the directors, they just get a feel for you when you first walk on to them, and they kind of like you. But she seemed to like me for some reason, and then she said, Eddie, you're going to have speaking lines today. I want you to say this and this and this. And I want you to also grab the guy from the Entourage and pull him away from you. So I had to get a stunt coordinator guy to show me how I could like pull him away when he was going to have a fight with another guy on the set, and I had to put my arms around him and like pull him away from another guy in the scene for some reason, and I had to like learn the stunt moves and things like that on how to like, or he's gonna punch you out, and we need to have you know how to like do it fake, but not look too fake, but he's not really gonna punch you, but you're gonna go like this, and then this is how you throw how when they throw a punch, you're gonna go like that, and things like that. You have to sometimes, I was on another thing where they,
oh my God.
the stunt people or the stunt coordinators have to show you what you're going to be doing because they want it to look so real. And so that was fun working with one of the Entourage guys. And then one of the guys from White Castle, the movie or whatever, Keenan, the one about the two guys, Kulam and Kumar, or what's his name? Kulam, Harold and Kumar. One of the Harold and Kumar guys, one time I was a cop and I had to put handcuffs around him and like put the actual handcuffs on him and like give him the Miranda rights, and then I had to like lock the key, the director said, and put them on him, and then put your little key in there and make sure they're real tight. And he was like freaking out because I put the little handcuffs on him. the guy that was one of the Harold or Kumars. He wasn't freaking out, but he was like playing with me to make it look like it was like a fetish thing, and like he was like maybe traumatized by maybe in real life he had had sex and he had the little handcuffs thrown on him for sex scene or something, and maybe that brought back sense memory because he was trying to be a dramatic actor and that kind of thing. Who's this over here? There's somebody over there with a Mickey Mouse and he's got his shirt off. And so is basically, are you the mom of Ethan? Are you Ethan's mom? Oh, very nice to meet you.
Mom.
What city are you in?
I'm in Woodland Hills.
Oh, Woodland Hills, California. Very good. So we're just waiting for Ethan to interview you?
I guess. I don't know what's going on. You certainly have
I just want to say, I hate the rain. I hate the rain. I hate the fucking rain.
Awesome.
He hates the rain.
They hate the rain.
He said he hates the rain.
Great. Well, you know, this one lady I know was upset with Howie Mandel because they went on that show, you know, the NBC's America's Got Talent, and I think what happened was they were the three grandmothers or something, and Howie X'd her, gave her the X thing, and even though she kind of thought she had made friends with him, and then she follows him, but he doesn't follow her back or something, so she was kind of like a little miffed, you know, with him. And then she went on The Price is Right, and she didn't get all the way to the three grandmothers went on The Price is Right, and they also lost. And so that was number 2 of, you know, them being traumatized. Hey, there's Ethan. He's in the car. What are you doing? Are you driving out and about? Ethan's in the car, it looks like. Or is that a previous video? He's in his car with his sunroof.
Where are you?
Where in the world is Ethan Klein today?
Oh my gosh. Dan, what's going on?
Not much. What's going on with you?
I thought I was supposed to call in and talk about what's going on with Selena Gomez.
Yeah, tell us about Selena. You know, Selena is, I worked with her on Wizards of Waverly Place.
Ethan, what the heck?
Maybe he can't hear you.
Oh my God.
The Wi-Fi could be out because of the rain.
Son. Ethan, you are too much.
But now I think I work, Selena's been good, but she's from my hometown, and I saw her little documentary. Did you see her documentary on Netflix? She had a big documentary on Netflix, and it did real well. And have you seen the new Pamela Anderson documentary about Pamela?
I have not.
I worked on VIP, and I got to be a drummer. And my friend was his father was the vice president of Sony, and he was the one that gave the tape to Tommy Mottola for Mariah Carey to be a big, you know, get her recording deal. But anyway, Jerry and my friend Vinny, we got to work together in a band scene in VIP, which was Pamela Anderson's second show after Baywatch. And then she had another show which was about videotapes or something. It was on Fox, where she worked in like a Blockbuster. And that got canceled. But VIP was on for 3 seasons or 4 seasons, and it did real well. It was like a Charlie's Angels, but it was like with VIP. It was called Very Important Person. Anyway, one day I was on set, and she was had just had another boob enlargement, and she was like hunched over and in pain, you know, from having having her jugs were too big at the moment. But I didn't say anything, but I could tell she was in a little bit of pain, you know. But she was a really pretty girl back then. And I've been watching her documentary, and it's really sentimental and fun. But she's not as big of a beauty as she used to be. But, you know, I think if she just puts the black eyeliner around her eyes, she looks like Pamela Anderson again. Like it's like putting the black eyeliner off of Joan Collins. It's just, that's her trademark. She has to have the black eyeliner. And a lot of times, women don't want to put the black eyeliner on anymore, and it's going to make them look a little different. But because of the newer styles of today's makeup, they want to be natural. You know, so I understand that. But Pamela Anderson's new doc is really good, and Selena's doc was very good. It was, you know, she had a lot of her health issues, and of course, you know, she she had a lot of different things. You know, for one movie, she looked flat-chested. It was a movie that she did, which was a famous book or something, and she looked very flat-chested. But you know, it's okay. She was growing. She was young at the time. They can't all have boob jobs. Not all actresses can have boob jobs and want to do that anymore. Now they're just whoever they are. But Ethan's away. He left the studio. I wonder if this is on live, what we're doing right now, or what's going on. This was a surprise. We were told we were going to be. He's getting some fast food. It looks like.
Can I get a number 2, please? A medium. With,
See, I'm supposed to do a one-man show at 3 o'clock, but I'll stay. You know, I'll just tell him I can be late.
And then what do you want?
Yeah, what time
just
is
a
it
large
now? It
fry.
must be about 4:30.
Just a large fry.
French fry.
2 o'clock. 3. Oh.
And then what do you think?
Okay.
I'll just get like.
I'm sure Ethan will be back in a few minutes.
Crispy chicken sandwiches
with a large soup beer, no pickles.
Yes, please.
Get like
2 quarter pounders.
maybe like a bunch of McNuggets.
Oh, but McNuggets is good. And then,
Oh my God.
what's the biggest McNugget?
I
size
can't
you
eat
guys
any
have?
fast food because I'm on that feel great system. Unless I drink my drink 10 minutes before, and I haven't had fast food since the time
Oh,
I've been
can I get
starting
a
the
40
drink.
piece?
40.
Oh my God.
Sweet.
This isn't good.
Yeah,
I
just,
wonder if they're trying to reach me from that
Ketchup, please.
Hey.
show.
Okay, and then and then can I get like 5 large French fries? That should be enough, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I should just get hamburgers instead.
There's a bunch there.
Oh my. Ethan. Dan, what is going on? Ethan, get me a soda. Oh, goodness. Is he actually going through a drive-through right now? Ay, 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 ay. I got to show your dad. This is too much. You are too.
And can I get like 3 normal cheeseburgers? And then that's all. Thank you.
My friend said he's watching this right now. He's watching us or something.
Gary.
Yeah, he's been watching since the beginning of
Oh, I didn't know you had
Ethan
this.
and his mom
You've been
and
watching
you.
with a
Oh, he
couple
says
of
his,
so
Ethan and his
crazy
mom and me are
outsiders.
on right now. Could everyone hear everything I was saying, or was that muted? Oh my God.
No, we've been live.
Oh wow.
Ethan sometimes does this.
Oh, I
he
see.
leaves and he takes a long time. to
Oh
come
my
back.
God. And I was ranting and going on and on and on. Oh,
People are loving you.
they've been
Eddie.
loving it?
Yeah.
Oh, I've been telling all my
You're
Hollywood
king.
stories, huh? Oh no.
Hi, Barbie.
Wow, okay, as long as everyone was liking it.
Yeah, sweetheart. Want to see my dog, my beautiful dog?
Oh, here's Blake Rose here calling me. Oh, wow.
Hi, Angel.
Hold on.
Ethan's a goofball.
Hello. Hey, Blake. Hey, sorry about that. I'm on a podcast right now, live, to like 30,000 people, and I can't. Right now, I'm thinking more like 4:30. I hope that won't hurt things. That's the best I can do.
4:30 is just fine.
Okay.
We're gonna just restructure some stuff and do some interview stuff with our crew.
Dan, tell
Okay.
Ethan.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, we'll see you at 4:30 then, okay?
Okay. I sure will. Thank you so much. Okay, see you then.
Talk about the show tonight if you'd like to on the podcast.
Oh, yeah, I will.
What'd you say
I
you're
sure
doing?
will.
Oh.
Okay, bye.
Still on the phone.
Let me see what was going on. Where's Blake Rose? Oh, well.
What did you say you were doing after this?
Yeah, it's a show that is going to be like a one-man show at the Yard Theater, and they're going to film it. And it's with Blake Rosier. I guess he hires people off of Craigslist to be an actor to be like in a one-man show that they put together within like 4 hours. but it's not so he says, talk about the show while you're on the podcast. But he didn't tell me the name of the show. I guess it's called Blake Rosier Show or something. Yeah. And then my other friend says he's been watching it, and Austin from Boston is out there. Shout out to Austin from Boston. He's watching the show. He was on previously with us, and he's watching from home and told about 50 people to watch it. He's on TikTok, Austin from Boston. And again, my TikTok is Eddielovese, Eddielovese. And thanks so much for having me on. All my fans that are watching, I told you to watch the H3 podcast, and they do watch it religiously every day. And they're happy that I'm on here, and I really am so grateful to Ethan for bringing me on. And it's nice to meet his mom, and she has other fans. And,
Chat loves you, Eddie. Everyone loves you.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah.
Chat. Keep chatting, keep bringing in those beautiful comments. We love you back. And Ethan is so proud to have this going on, and all the support you give us is really appreciated. And we all love you, and the crew here is just beautiful. It's so nice to see each other here, and we're really great people. We love you. We love you.
I love listening to all your stories.
Oh, thanks. I went on into tangents thinking we weren't like filming live, but yeah, I could just go on and on and on. There have been so many happy stories, but it's good to be on camera again, you know, in a live studio. Yeah, my last things were like, I did a lot of different things that were filmed that were fun. Yeah, but I don't know if you want me to mention their name, but I did some Darmans.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I did a lot of Darmans recently where I like played a casting director, and I told one guy like, you're not up to snuff with your acting, come back when you know how to act or something like that. And they liked it, and they go like, Eddie, we wish we had the sound at that moment when you said that or something, but it was MOS at the time or something. And then, but I did several of their Darman videos for YouTube recently, not too many.
Can I hope this isn't too much to ask, but did they, what was the pay like there?
Yeah, they will pay like $16 an hour for for regular background work with them, but if you're, or $30 an hour if you're featured. So like sometimes they'll do
That
movie,
doesn't sound bad.
theater scenes.
You know, there was a big controversy about him underpaying his actors. Did
Yeah.
you see all that?
Yeah, I did see that. I haven't seen that, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, I guess they do, you know, but they get experience and exposure, and it seems like they have a great time with their directors, and their directors are, you know, easy breezy and fast paced, and it seems like
they're
he's a
pumping
good
out
guy.
content.
I put some comments in there about how they don't serve the meals properly, you know, like they need better meals. They only give you like a cold box lunch that sometimes, and they're these small little boxes like that they get from, you know, somewhere, and they're like cold, and they'll only give like the principals the lunch, and sometimes the extras don't even get lunch. But then after I put the comment in their little suggestion box, then all the extras have been starting to get fed. But we did like some boxing scenes in a boxing, you know, place. And,
Do you remember the name of the video?
I don't, but my friend has a whole list of the ones I've been in, and I haven't even seen them. I hadn't even watched them, but I will. And once I do, I'll get you the list of all the ones I've been in.
Yeah, we got to see your cameo.
But I did those, you know, off the side, just because when you're waiting around for the union background extra work, or when you're trying to, you know, find gigs in
I want to
between.
ask something.
Yeah.
Is Ethan going to bring me some McDonald's?
Or when they call you because you're in Burbank and it's 5 minutes away from where you live, it's so convenient to like just go over to that Darman Studios.
I cannot believe your son, Gary.
Is Gary there?
It was Gary to say about this.
I think you're taking the dogs for a walk? Well, take your time.
Eddie, what was your favorite set to work on?
Oh, yeah, probably, well, Back to the Future Part 2 and Christmas Vacation were fun sets. Yeah, I did 50 scenes. We recreated all the Chicken of the Sea dance, you know, from the original locations. And when you're working on like, you know, I did Leo DiCaprio's movies. You know, those are fun to work on, and the and sets. You know, oh, and you know when they recreate, like you know when we did Yes Man with Jim Carrey, they recreated like an actual bar from Los Feliz inside Warner Brothers, or you know like when you work on different sets that they have to recreate, you know, restaurants or business or company. Oh, and then I did Chippendales movies recently, a TV show, Chippendales. That was fun to work on.
Chicken McNuggets and root beer.
Yeah.
You got it, Gabe. I'm gonna get it for you after the episode. I'll run that over to you, buddy.
And we had to like do like the 70s, you know, Chippendales like discos, or, you know, like when you get to work with like, you know, different actors that are kind of controversial, and then they're working in, and you recreate like titty bar scenes, or, you know, like strip clubs, striptease clubs. Those are interesting to work in because, you know, you get like dancing on the poles and all that, and they have to like, you have to like really get into it and like throw them some money, and they do lap dances around you or on top of you, and you can't say no. You have to do it. And then, well, I did work on a fun set too recently was when I did that Grace and Frankie, you know, with you know, and you would think that like Jane Fonda would be like standoffish and kind of snotty, or you know, like kind of uppity, but instead she smiles at you, or you know, she knows that you kind of feel for her type of acting, and so you get that kind of exchange eye contact where normally actresses don't do that sometimes, or they don't want you in their eye line. But like with Jane Fonda, she kind of looked at me like, you know, it was a thrill to work with her on the set. And well, a lot of people who worked on The Prom liked the sets from the Prom movie because it was a musical, and they put all the actual, like Meryl Streep is, you know, dancing around right next to you and singing. And so those are fun to work on, you know, when you're like, and they recreate like, you know, New York sets or things like that. But a lot of times too, when you're doing, you know, period pieces, those are fun. You know, I had to do one where I was in that, you know, period piece in the 20s or 30s, and you have to wear like really thick wool clothes in the middle of summer. Oh, and a fun one I did was I played a redneck in that movie about the Santa Clauses. It was about like, you know, with you know, the guy from Home Improvement.
Tim Allen.
Yeah, Tim Allen, and he played the Santa Claus, and then we had to be like Redville, like we had to be like people in like a country town, and so we had to wear overalls and like be like all country, you know, at a country like carnival, and those are fun to work on. And then like I did one with like one of the where, you know, you had to work at night, and they put a lot of like, you know, fog, or you know, like a lot of maybe you're pretending that it's like, you know, kind of a Renaissance feel, and so you have people on horses, or the star on a horse, and you have to like be like people that that are in that town, like sort of like if you're like, you know, in that, you know, like kind of like Beauty and the Beast times or something like that, you know. And those, but then you could be freezing cold. One that I did recently was where we did like, we had to use our phones, and it was an app on a phone, and it was you know, Courtney Cox's David Arquette. It was produced by him, and it was a TV series or a movie in which we had to like actually like be like we were. They would like, you know, do like the Jim Carrey from like, you know, Batman Forever type of thing, where they kind of got into your mind because you were on a phone, and the app told you what you had to do.
Oh,
and
that's
so,
interesting.
And all the people had to like point their camera at a dead person's body that was on the shore of the ocean, and we had to work in Malibu, let's say, or, you know, if you work in a Malibu mansion, those are fun sets to work on when you're like in party scenes, and you're, you know, a friend of mine who looks like Sylvester Stallone, he's a younger version of Sly Stallone, had to do like, you know, you had to be like different movies where like, you know, you'll get to do scenes, you know, where they might be like making you like a pool man or pool boy, or, you know, like things like that.
I'm still curious about Wizards of Waverly Place because
Oh,
that was
yeah.
my favorite show growing up.
Yeah, that was fun to work on those great sitcoms, you know, that are, they're very good and, you know, they have a lot of, oh yeah, and I did a lot of the iCarly's and the,
Really?
and all those Nickelodeon shows, you know, like iCarly or different shows like that. And I was in some episodes where like I'm featured like in a wedding scene or different things like on The Nanny. I was swabbing the deck in like a Titanic recreation scene, or you know, you might be like in a scene with Joan Collins, you know, and that you know, or fun scenes like that, because they always brought in guest stars on The Nanny, and I worked on that several times. And then Melrose Place, 90210. I proposed to Tori Spelling on 90210, and she said yes. But yeah, working on Melrose Place with like, you know, Heather Dean Locklear and location scenes. And then also they filmed a lot of the scenes inside of the Santa Clarita Studios, or recently, yeah, let me pull up some of the ones that I've done recently and I could tell you more, you know. Oh, they got me on a show that's all vaxxed for tomorrow. I'm supposed to be on MasterChef.
Oh.
So I have to confirm it's one of those cooking shows, but I haven't been on that in a while. Let's see. You're booked as audience on the all vax show MasterChef. Test work tomorrow. Please let us know if you're a fan of the show and what have you seen some episodes. So I have you on it. Have a great day. Blah blah blah. MasterChef for tomorrow. So, but I'll pull up some of the ones that I've done recently, and you'll like the ones that I've done. Let's see. Now that we have a minute. Hey, Ethan's back. All right.
Are you hungry?
Not yet. No, thank you though. Appreciate it.
We got nuggets. We got hamburgers.
Oh, I'm good. Thank you very much.
Ethan, I thought you're on a diet. Why are you eating that stuff?
What?
I can't believe you went through a drive-through.
I trust Eddie, ultimately.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah,
The thing
had
is,
fun.
I went to the bathroom. And you started riffing.
Oh yeah.
And I was captivated.
Oh,
so was the
yeah.
audience.
Oh wow.
And so.
That's so interesting. Wow, thank you for doing that. I appreciate
Thank you,
that.
Eddie.
Oh my
for
gosh.
entertaining us that whole
You
time.
are so-
That was amazing.
And here I thought I was just talking to the crew.
No, it was live the whole time.
Oh.
But it was so interesting.
Thank you.
You have so much inside information.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, it's been a pleasure working with you here and being in the studio with you. It's so much fun.
It's incredible. Thank you so much. And by the way,
yeah. Oh.
You guys want some McDonald's? I got so much for everybody. Just come help yourselves.
Thank you.
I got crispy chickens if someone doesn't want. I got like a ton of nuggets. You sure you don't like McDonald's?
Oh, no, thank you. Thank
You're
you.
on a
though.
diet?
Yeah, I'm on that Feel Great system where you have to drink something 10 minutes before you're going to eat, so it'll burn
Feel
the food
Great?
fiber, you know, in the foods.
What's the Feel Great?
It's like a nutritional supplement drink so that you can get fiber and matrix in your foods and not have you fast every day like Yom Kippur for all the Yom Kippurs that I didn't fast.
You're making up a lot.
Yeah. And
Is
so
that how
now-
you lost all the weight?
Yeah, lost 33 pounds in like 6 weeks and counting, you know, in inches off my belly fat and hoping to reverse my type 2 diabetes.
Oh,
and
shoot.
Not be on glipizide and metformin.
Oh, shoot.
So I haven't had anything.
Good
in a
for
while.
you.
Yeah, thanks. I was just getting to a list of the things I'd worked on. Wide Men Can't Jump, the new reboot TV series, Winning Time, let's see, Walmart commercial, Weird. Oh, I did the Weird Al movie where I played like in a bathroom scene with Al Yankovic, played by Harry Potter, you know, Daniel Radcliffe. And I was in the Terminal List and the Masked Singer a lot and the Lakers Project and the Choices We Make and Euphoria, that's my jam. Super Pumped was a movie about Uber. It was with the guy from Third Rock from the Sun, Super Pumped.
Mm-hmm.
And I did Redville and Rap Shit recently and The Pool Man with, you know, Chris Pine. And On My Block was one about like where you were like in the Lonely Planet, like I Love This For You, Harry Potter, Grace and Frankie, Euphoria, and let's see, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Dead to Me, Chippendales, Bromates, Bosch spinoff. I did people saw me a lot in that. Bosch spinoff, Barry, the TV series. They saw me a lot in Barry. And Arnold's was like a Caribbean sitcom with an all-black cast, and they liked me in that and featured me a lot in that. That was done in like Woodland Hills, where your mom lives, and we had to go to like a studio, like a small little studio in Woodland Hills for Arnold's. It was about Caribbean, like sitcom with black. They had to have very thick Caribbean accents from Jamaica Man, Jamaica Man. And there was 15 AHR was like 15 ahora. It was a Mexican sitcom called 15 ahora, and it was I worked on that recently, and that was in.
You need a water?
Yeah, I've got one right here. Thanks. It was in MacArthur Park, where I mean we had to like feed the pigeon, be like people in the park. Thanks. Okay.
Would you ever go for a main role, or are you like married to the extra?
Yeah, I have done some main roles, you know, but when you're as an extra, you get thrown like featured and speaking right there on the set.
Oh, really? By the way, we followed you, Eddie.
Oh my God, thank you. Thank you. Oh, this is a real thrill. Thank you so much, because I know you only follow like 13 people right now. Howie Mandel, one of them.
Where do you want people to follow you?
Oh, on Eddielovese at TikTok, EDDIELOVESE, Eddielovese, because when I was going to be Eddie Loves Something, but TikTok only lets you have a certain amount of words, so that's why it had to be Eddielovese, because TikTok kind of cut off 1 or 2 words.
Instagram or anything else?
No, just that's
TikTok.
Just TikTok, Eddielovese, EDDIELOVESE. Thank
Awesome.
you. Eddielovese on TikTok. Thank you. Oh, it's an honor for you to follow me back, and I'm going to promote the hell out of you guys. And you already have promotion, but you know, every day I'm going to mention you constantly.
Well,
tag you
we're
and follow
hemorrhaging
you.
subs, so
Yeah.
we can use all the help.
Let's bring you up, buddy.
Oh, you were saying you worked with Darman.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel exploited by him?
I didn't really, because you know they've got good fast directors, and the scenes were done quick, and you know it seemed like they're learning and they're teaching, and they have. I like the fact that they had actors that were there that probably don't get enough exposure or work, or you know they're good enough, and they seem to be good, and yet they're not too mean to them, and they don't tell them they can't act. They just let them be who they are, and it seemed like it's a nice environment to work in.
Did you do long days there?
Not too long, no. You know, 6-8 hour days, nothing too long, because they don't want too much overtime, of course. But still, you know, I like the in and out, because then you can kind of have the rest of your day free, or it's good locations. And although, you know, he should pay actors more, but hey, you know, I'm sure he had to pay a lot for putting 2 big studios together and putting all interiors inside the studio a lot. He had to put a lot of interiors. So, you know, that costs a lot. And then for today's, after the pandemic, it's hard to get a thing going, you know, so I'll let him be.
I have to say, I'm utterly impressed with your ability to riff.
Oh, thanks. I just go on.
That was
and on.
incredible, though.
Oh my God!
I think
thank
you went for 30 minutes without a single question.
Well, I get my inspiration through you, because you're so
course.
brilliant that
We're riffers.
it came off of you. That whole the energy and the
You really are the man. Everybody follow Shirtless Eddie. For
Thank you,
Christ's sake.
Eddielovese on TikTok. Yo, I love.
This has been an interesting episode. Avant-garde, if you will.
Yeah, it was very avant-garde. You did a
Bleeding edge.
bleeding edge. Yeah, I really.
Sometimes it
enjoyed
works, sometimes it doesn't.
I think it worked. It worked really good, and your fans really like to see you go out and about in the real world sometimes too. And so you showed them a little bit of side you that you haven't seen before.
That's very true. I don't think they've seen me order McDonald's before live.
It's always brought into you, and then you know you'll say, "Hey, thanks for bringing it," but yet this way we saw you go out there, and we were the anticipation of what is he doing? Where is he? Where in the world is he? And did he leave the studio or something going on?
Right. So there's not many show hosts who would be bold and adventure enough to leave their studio.
That's right.
In the hands of, frankly, this is our first time meeting in person, a stranger.
I appreciate
but
it.
I trust.
I'm honored.
Yeah, I trust.
Thank you so much, and it's been a pleasure, and I love to be seeing you in person.
Yeah.